Spero Pictures podcast, where we focus on the stories and not the headlines.
Because we believe that stories can change the world. Get ready because the show starts now.
Hey there, Spero Pictures crew. Welcome back to Coming Attractions. I'm your host, Joy Thayer.
And I am Mr. Joy. And if you haven't guessed from our rather audacious attire, it is our Christmas special.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! So,
yeah.
What are we going to talk about?
Your elf ears.
Yes, I have. I was bequeathed by my grandfather with elf ears. Also known, well, you could extend that to elephant ears.
Elephant ears. Elf ears. What are we going to be talking about? We are going to be talking about our top 5
favorite Christmas movies.
Favorite, I think, and take it a little bit further, favorite family Christmas movies.
Favorite family Christmas movies.
Because in your favorite Christmas movie list, you have Die Hard.
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
Which
Yes.
I wouldn't put that on the family-friendly list necessarily.
No, not necessarily family friendly, but definitely a Christmas movie.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
You can actually pull up Christmas references from the movie itself. From the script, it's actually right there in the movie.
Give us some lines from the movie in the description or in the comments below.
So, but we're not here to talk about Die Hard or to get into that long and sordid debate. We are here to talk about movies that are actually on the approved, I guess there is there an approved list of Christmas movies? Like you're a Christmas movie if you, tick these boxes?
I don't know.
Samantha, I can't go caroling with you. Your Christmas megastore is going to put my mom and pop ornament shop out of business.
Oh, Bruce, all I cared about was my career. But then we had that moment at Christmas Creek and things changed.
Cut! You idiots are using the names from the last one of these we shot. You're Sandra and Jeff now. All right, moving on to the Golden Retriever Christmas Sweater Fashion Show.
So, talking about what makes a Christmas film.
Yes.
Number 5 is actually not quite a Christmas film. It's a Thanksgiving film.
It kind of snuck in there.
It snuck in there.
Kinda snuck in
so
there.
we put it in the Christmas category because it's in the holiday category.
It's in the holiday category.
And it is one that we watch regularly.
But there's not many Thanksgiving films.
There's not very
is
many
interesting.
Thanksgiving films.
Right?
But I was just at the dentist. I had some happy gas
Yes.
at the dentist.
Yes, you were very happy.
I watched the film all over again. And this time I watched it with the subtitles and I laughed the whole time. What was it?
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Are you mad at me?
There were so many great one lines that matched the action so well. And then there was some
You were
stuff.
laughing at the scene that they're driving the car. Well, they're being pulled over by the police officer because they're driving the car that has been burnt.
Yeah.
Do you feel this vehicle is safe for highway travel?
Yes, I do. Yes, I really do. I believe that. I know it's not pretty to look at, but it'll get you where you want to go.
Now, you got no outside mirror.
No, we lost that.
You have no functioning gauges.
No, not a one. However, the radio still works. Funny as that may seem, with all this mess, that the radio is the only thing that's really working good, and it's as clear as a bell. Don't ask me how.
Steve Martin and John Candy. You just can't find comedy like this anymore.
No. For heaven's sake, no. I think I was entertaining the dentist and the dental assistant with my comments.
Because while this was rated R, at the time, and definitely, there's a little bit of language in there, but you just can't find that kind of clever, good, slapstick kind of comedy anymore. What was funny, because when you were high at the dentist, all of a sudden you're like, it's the Home Alone house. Look at that.
I did, because there's been a ton of stuff filmed at the Home Alone house.
Yep.
But all of a sudden I'm going, look, it's the whole front door. It's the whole staircase.
Yep.
It's the whole thing.
Yep.
And so I was just like, oh my goodness, we're back there.
Yeah.
And didn't even realize it until.
Well, that was actually predated Home Alone. That movie came out before Home Alone. Yeah, it came out, I think, that
So the Home Alone
85.
house is actually the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles house.
That's true, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I got it backwards.
Yes, Macaulay Culkin bought the place.
Mom? Dad?
I think family is a real heavy theme on Christmas movies. And so he's trying to get back to his family. And John Candy, Dell, he doesn't have a family anymore. And so...
But you don't know that.
You don't know that through the whole film because he's just talking like he's going home and find out at the end that he doesn't have anywhere to go.
Yep.
And then, you know, of course, it's you know, a really great buddy comedy, Odd Couple, just all of those normal types of comedy, like Odd Couple tropes, but it's it's got that heart at the end where Steve Martin is like, oh, dude, like, I'll just take you home. And that's one of the things that I love about John Hughes is John Hughes knows how to knew, because he's unfortunately no longer with us, but he knew how to pull on the heartstrings and then ramp up the comedy. And he just had this really amazing balance in that way. Kind of similar to like a Taika Waititi kind of, where he knows how to, you know, push on the heartstrings. And then all of a sudden, a couple of minutes later, you're laughing.
Yeah. The one-liners in there are just spectacular. They're so on point. Makes a really good script, which is why you watch it year after year. I think, like you're saying, is the other thing with Christmas is we oftentimes think of family, but it's those that are lonely. You know, God places the lonely in a family. And so for those that are down on their luck, those are things that pull on our heartstrings every year, is we want to make places for other people to connect. So, number five. Not
Planes,
quite
Train.
a Christmas movie.
Close enough.
Family-friendly-esque.
Yes.
There's some stuff that you're going to be covering kids' eyes and
Yeah,
ears and things with. We've got a couple more of those that are family-friendly-esque now that I'm thinking about
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, number four.
Number 4 is
Elf.
Elf.
Speaking
Elf.
of ears, Elf ears.
Elf is, I think, was a really surprising movie for me when I first saw it, because it's really hard to make a good Christmas movie that becomes a classic.
Yeah.
Because, you know, and there's some people, you know, because there's all these Hallmark ones now, and all of these Christmas movies that, you know, they try to come out with a Christmas movie, you know, once a year, but Elf just hit all of the just ticked all of the boxes.
You look like you came from the North Pole.
That's exactly where I came from. Santa must have called you.
Oh yeah, sure. He just got off the cell phone with me.
You did?
I think the Raskin Bass animation that they played on, you know, the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and so Jon Favreau's direction with that was perfect, because, and that's what I love about Jon Favreau, is that he did this with the Mandalorian series. He has done this with Iron Man, of course, the Jungle Book, and that anything that he kind of touches, you can really feel the love that he has for some of these nostalgic things. So like the Raskin Bass animation that everybody grew up, well, at least our generation grew up watching, and our parents watched. And so, you know, having that in there, I think ticked that nostalgia box for people.
Right.
And so it made it a classic in that way. Plus, then you got Will Ferrell, who just plays such a lovable, you know, kind of buffoon idiot that, you know, the village idiot that kind of comes to New York.
Oh! He's a monster! He's a fake! He's a fake! He's a fake!
Will Ferrell was just the perfect actor for that, because he plays that kind of character really well.
He does. Our kids watched it the other day at our friend's house, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, he's got 3 favorite food groups: candy, and syrup." They just thought it was so great, you know.
My favorite scene is still one of my favorite memes.
Okay.
One of my because memes like GIFs.
Yeah.
Like
you speak love language.
My
GIF.
love language is GIFs, not gifts. GIFs. And one of my favorite ones is when he's trying to get the star up on the top of the tree. It's just a really funny shot.
That makes you happy.
It does make me happy.
What do you think the theme is of Elf?
Elf? again, it's family and the importance of family and and innocence. You know, and I think that and that's one of the things that it's funny because it's like you live your entire childhood trying to, you know, grow up and get away from that innocence, and then all of a sudden it gets to a point in your adulthood where you wish you could go back. And some people actually are able to capture that again. But yeah, that's what I think that movie's about.
Something that both movies have in common is both of them have some kind of douchebag in it. So you got Steve Martin, that he just is, you know, very selfish, self-centered, and annoyed.
And then James Caan.
And then you got James Caan,
who plays Will Ferrell's dad.
Right. So why are those things that we're also drawn to in that kind of?
Well, I think it's because it's kind of like their curmudgeonly kind of Scrooge character.
We'd love to see your act.
In fact, we'd hate to miss your act.
In fact, we'd love to hate your act.
Scrooge has kind of become just part of the Christmas,
right?
You know, kind of matrix in a way. And so when you make a Christmas movie, you usually have to have somebody who's like a bah humbug, kind of a character. And
so who do you think the bah humbug is here? No, don't answer that.
It's not Mr. Joy.
All right, number 3.
Number 3. Number 3 is Home Alone. There's a really great Netflix special, that documentary series that's like the movies that made us, and they did a really great one on Home Alone where it talked about like the making of and the behind the scenes and how they did the flooding of the houses. They built the sets in an old school pool and flooded the pool and stuff like that. But I remember when I first saw the movie when I was like 10 or 11 years old, and Joe Pesci's headlights on fire. We would rewind that part of the movie back when it was VHS.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it was VHS. Oh yeah,
yeah.
And we would rewind that part of the movie over and over and over again, and just watch his head. We would just.
That just made you so happy.
We would just roll crying. It was just, and then also Daniel Stern when when the iron hit his face. Hilarity ensued.
You know, they say that about kids is they just think that when some kind of violent act like that happens, they just think it's hilarious. Yeah. This is why the America's Funniest Home Videos were funny. Yeah. Is you got some kid whacking their dad in the balls
with a rake,
with whatever on accident, and kids are just laughing.
Well, you know, I mean, we grew up with Wile E. Coyote.
See, and while you think these things were funny because you watched them on TV, I was probably living that in real life. I was surrounded by a bunch of boys of like, whose head can we light on fire?
Right, yeah, exactly.
How are we going to do this? And,
who brought the anvil?
Yeah, who brought the anvil? So that was my.
But really, that kind of comes from vaudeville. Really, I mean, you know, it's like, you know, a lot of what made Warner Brothers cartoons work was that kind of Groucho Marx vaudeville, you know, kind of style humor.
Well,
Well, you're making up your mind. I'll go slip out of these wet clothes and into a dry martini, huh?
I mean, really shaped a lot of how we see humor and the beats of humor and all of that.
Do you think we've gotten away from that because people are too politically correct right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because the comedy can't be funny because we're constantly offending somebody, or people will say, well, that you can't do that. It's, you know.
Well, comedy is about, you know, like a lot of comedy, not all comedy, but a lot of comedy is about pointing out differences. Mm-hmm. And when you're not allowed to point out differences anymore, it takes away a lot of material.
Right.
So, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But.
All right. Number 2?
Number 2. Now, number 2 is actually on top of my list, but because I'm a good husband, I went ahead and put it down. I took the back seat. There's a bigger man. But National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. another John Hughes movie.
Wow. They got three in the top 5.
Well, he was a master at it.
Wow.
And but I remember when that movie, because that movie also came out in 1988. I mean, or 1989, somewhere in there. I don't think they came out at the same year. But National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation just became a perennial favorite at the Thayer household as I was growing up. It was like every Thanksgiving night we would roll out National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. We'd put up a few holiday decorations, and we'd eat pumpkin pie and Cool Whip.
How many one-liners do you think that you could quote off the top of your head from that film?
Let's see.
Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
You couldn't hear a dump truck driving through a nitroglycerin plant.
Where's the Tylenol? Merry Christmas!
Unfortunately, most of the ones that are coming to my head have bad words in them. And so, yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So that one's,
so again, we were going to talk about family friendly films. Yeah. Not really on the family friendly list.
Not necessarily. No, it depends on how old your family is.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you've got kids that are teenagers, then, there you go. But
he's like, oh, can't say that one. Oh,
but most
say that
people
one.
have seen it at this point because, again, it's one of those movies that generally makes it to the top. Like if you say National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, people are just like, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, again, I do enjoy it. We do watch it every single year.
Yes.
And sometimes a couple times in a year. And at one point, you and I dressed up like them and sent out Christmas cards with our photo superimposed on their faces.
I mean, it's like my favorites. I think, gosh dang, it's so hard to find to think of your favorite scene in that movie. Like, because you've got so many great moments, like when he puts the spray on the sled.
I don't know if I ought to go sailing down no hill with nothing between the ground and my brain but a piece of government plastic.
You really think it matters, Eddie?
When I was younger, we would go sledding. We lived in the mountains in Northern California. And so my mom and my Aunt Barb, they got these laundry baskets. We also grew up pretty poor. And so they got laundry baskets and they were sledding down the hill in these laundry baskets. So this is just one story. I've got so many sledding stories that I'm going to share a couple with you. So then we kids didn't have a sled. And so we took my swimming pool, like Walmart swimming pool, greased up the bottom of it and sled down the hill with that thing, and we launched it. We would go on these, and so then that was when I was probably about 4 or 5. That we were doing that. And then we also had what we had was our water source in town was called the reservoir. So one year we go to the reservoir and we are doing sledding there. We got on a giant inner tube from a tractor thing with everybody. I mean, we could get 10, 15 people on it. We were dangerous people. And so we got this, we launched down there and then we land in the water in the reservoir. And this is middle of winter, freezing cold. And then when we met every year, we'd go to a mountain called Eskimo Hill on Christmas Day. And the rule is that sledding was over when somebody got hurt. And sometimes that was me.
So no wonder you laugh so hard at
and that. So to me, this was, again, my growing up, my childhood. And I think the first year we went sledding and I launched off of the giant sled hill over the jump, and the sled went out from underneath of me and I landed and bruised my bum cheek and my thigh, and then it was like, all right, we're out.
If only I had back the money that me and Catherine sent that TV preacher that was screwing the hockey players.
What I love about that movie, is some of the stuff that doesn't really get noticed, but I've always just tickled me. So when he goes to drop off the Christmas gift with his boss, and he turns around, everybody got the boss the exact same thing, and it's just this oddly shaped package. Those little kind of things, or when Randy Quaid, what do they call that mock turtleneck?
A dickie.
A dickie. They got the dickie on, right? And then they had that little wooden that little wooden windmill thing that kind of like just spins because
I used to own one of those with the little candles.
He hits it and it just falls apart. And those little moments for me is kind of what makes the film, because it's like they're kind of like these little throwaway gags, but it's just it's what makes those John Hughes Christmas movies, those John Hughes movies in general, just special, because he doesn't waste those moments. Like he puts a little something in there that you can just kind of I don't know, just
I don't think they have Dickies anymore.
No, I think they banned them.
What, if you don't know what they are, is it's a turtleneck, but it's just the neck, and so it kind of is like a napkin kind of thing that goes here to here. And so if you grew up in our generation, you probably wore one. He had a brown one underneath of a white or cream colored shirt, so you can see it.
Didn't work. Yeah.
And then the little thing that you're talking about that broke.
It's basically the wardrobe equivalent to a clip-on tie.
It's pretty much.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah. And then we would always do the white elephant gifts, and most likely that little wooden thing that spun around was re-gifted all the time.
All right, so now we have reached our number one, and it is not
the Star Wars Holiday Special.
I know you guys probably thought that was what it's going to be, but it's not. I'm sorry to let you down.
No. But why isn't it the Star Wars Christmas Special, though? Because I was kind of leaning towards the Star Wars Christmas Special.
Oh, just because it's really bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't want to mention bad.
No. But there is a documentary coming out about it.
About how bad it was?
Yeah. Well, about the making of it and all that sort of stuff. So I've heard that it's coming, and looking forward to seeing that.
Nice. Now, my favorite Christmas film of all time is It's a Wonderful Life.
What a shock.
Thank you for letting that come in the top. I appreciate it.
Now, okay, I do not understand how that movie can be labeled a Christmas movie and Die Hard is not. Because that movie, literally only a fraction of the movie is happens on Christmas. Happens on Christmas Eve. I mean, it's like but I mean, the entire movie of Die Hard happens on Christmas Eve.
It does. You're right. You've made a point. Matt wins the argument. For all of those that will only hear me say that maybe 3 times in my life.
But back to It's a Wonderful Life. What do you like about It's a Wonderful Life? What's your favorite thing?
I think there's so many things that I like about it, but I was thinking about it the other day, is really what is my all-time favorite part. And it wasn't that he was willing to sacrifice. It wasn't that he went through so many hard things and that the community came around him. It was really that the angel Clarence at the end showed him that without his life, that the world would be different. And so I think that that's really what it boiled down to, is that each one of us have a call and a purpose on our life. And even though we might not know it, we might not know what our purpose is, and we might feel frustrated constantly because things aren't working out how we thought or different things like that. That was the most significant part, is that God is looking out for us, and we should be doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because we're looking for a reward, and that we will benefit humanity if we are on that path. And then also just discovering that we have value. So,
favorite scene.
I've read about things like this, but I never...
Shame on you. I'm going to tell your mother on you.
Well, my mother's way up in the corner there.
I'll call the police.
And they're way downtown. They'd be on my side, too.
Then I'm going to scream.
Maybe I could sell tickets. No. Let's see. No, that... The point is, in order to get this robe... I've got it. I'll make a deal with you, Mary.
The first one that comes to my mind would be when they're walking home from the dance and she loses her bathrobe. And
that was exactly the first scene that came to my mind, too.
And she's in the bushes, and he's just over there.
He's like, "Oh, I'm not going to pass up this
being
opportunity."
A boy, and that was just this, precarious moment that
it's fun.
Wasn't quite inappropriate.
No.
It didn't cross the line, but made you laugh and also go, "Hey, what's going on here, sir?" Like, you're supposed to be this gentleman.
Or like when everybody's dancing at the dance, and all of a sudden the pool opens and they all fall in.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know,
Uh-huh.
trivia question.
Okay.
Which little rascals showed up in that scene?
So do we need to have them put it in a comment, or are we going to tell them?
No, we'll tell them.
Okay. Which one?
Alfalfa.
Alfalfa. He was in the scene of
The dancing
scene.
Yeah, the dancing scene, and It's a Wonderful Life.
We're gonna have to go back and watch it with fresh new eyes.
Yep.
Well, speaking of family Christmas movies, we have got to be a part of one this year for the first time. There's tons that are coming out every year, all the time. Our friends over at Damascus Road were part of a production of Bringing Back Christmas, which is the story of Joseph and Mary in a modern day fun twist.
Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of a little bit of It's a Wonderful Life, a little bit of it's kind of a Back to the Future kind of thing where an angel takes somebody back to see Mary and Joseph as they lead up to Bethlehem. And so it's a really fun concept, and you've been a part of helping get it out because they pushed it out there, and so you've been a part of the marketing for that.
Right. I think part of one of my favorite scenes in that one. I think there's a couple. Our friend Ryan O'Quinn is, what is he? I can't remember whose father he is. He's Mary's father.
Yeah, Mary's father, and he's hilarious. He did a great job.
So funny.
Yeah,
and they're arguing. The parents are arguing.
They're very that kind of New York Jew.
You can get there in half the time if you cut through Samaria.
No respectable person will cut through Samaria. Everybody knows that.
Well, I tell you this: a smart person on a donkey with a pregnant wife who wants to get to Bethlehem and back in order to have our grandchild at home. They would.
And it shows you the story of Joseph and Mary in a way you've never seen it or experienced it before. Yeah. So you can go to bringingbackchristmasmovie.com. You can watch that one tonight with your entire family. We could list off tons of Christmas movies. Like I just watched The Holiday with my mom and Nancy and different people. But I think that nobody argues if Lethal Weapon is a Christmas movie. They might argue that Die Hard is. Why don't they have that argument? Why is Die Hard the one that gets brought up?
I don't know.
No.
The TV's broke. What are we going to do all night? Celebrate the birth of Christ. Now put the presents under the tree.
Do you have any desire ever to direct a Christmas movie? And if so, what would it be about?
Yeah, no, I think that would be fun. I don't know. I mean, I'd want it to be something different. I wouldn't want it to just be girl from the city meets country guy in the flannel, kind of.
No Hallmark for you.
No Hallmark for me. But something. I mean, I thought. I mean, the Bringing Back Christmas concept was really, really strong. And when I heard about that, I was like, that's a really good idea.
Thought of the iPod.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. When I saw the iPod, I was just like,
oh man.
You know where that movie's from? That quote's from.
I hope so. Anyway, we appreciate you hanging out with us, having a great time. You know what my hot chocolate's missing?
What?
Some adultness. There's no. I was about to say bourbon. There's no schnapps in my hot chocolate.
I was about to say more hot chocolate.
More hot chocolate. But we do. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us every week and listening to us talk about films. And so this coming attraction is obviously about the coming attraction of Bring Back Christmas. Let us know. The coming
attraction of just Christmas.
And the coming attraction of Christmas.
I think Christmas is an amazing holiday.
Let us know your favorite film, why it's your favorite film, why other people should watch it. What do you enjoy about it?
Leave the comments below.
And then what would you like to see Matt and I make if we ever made a Christmas film? I think we would do a Christmas comedy. My favorite film is on the Christmas list was the only really serious one. They were all funny. And that was more of a dramatic, and we enjoy humor quite a bit. So anyway, we really appreciate you guys.
Romantic comedy Christmas? Maybe you like?
A Christmas romantic?
The Holiday was fun. I thought The Holiday was really really
I
cute.
think if you were talking about romantic ones, there's not a lot of. I mean, I'm just not that type of a girl that likes the Hallmark kind of films.
But I liked The Holiday.
The Holiday was good. We just watched it.
I didn't watch all of it because it was on the other day when your mom was over. You guys, I don't remember why you guys were watching it, but I forgot.
We were cooking for Thanksgiving.
Okay, I forgot that it had all of those movie trailer moments where all of a sudden she was imagining her life in a movie trailer, and
that's the best part about it is
Yeah.
I think that there's some great one-lines and stuff. I think most of the time when it comes to romantic movies or romantic holiday movies, I get irritated at how quickly a girl falls in love with a boy or how those relationships. So I just go away just irritated, like you met over a weekend, you guys are now sleeping together and you're getting married. And so I'm like, nah. I'd rather watch Die Hard.
And on that note, we'll see you later.
God bless.